Hello YouTube, it's Jim Chapman, American Airgun Hunter, and today's going to be a slight departure for me. Rather than a hunting video or a gun review, I want to talk to you a little bit about a product that I've been looking at. Like a lot of YouTubers, I get inundated with these online marketing companies that want to send me products to look at, and it's everything from blenders to rifle scopes, and I normally don't do them because frankly I'm just not interested. I don't have an affiliate shop, I don't sell things, but I am curious once in a while to look at something that piques my interest. So I've got a product right now I'm going to show you, and non-disclosure, they've sent me the product to keep. It's about a $300 product, and that price is something to keep in mind. It's about a $300 product, and I get to keep it after this. But I'll tell you, what I'm going to give you is my honest impression of it, and a little bit of a spoiler alert. I like it, but even if I didn't, another product, when I've had to rent a storage space to keep all the gear that I've bought on my own, isn't that appealing if it didn't work. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about this, because I think potentially it could be a game changer for a lot of people in the way that they hunt. There's an old expression with hunting that to be successful, you have to be where the animals are, and you have to be out when they're out. And for a lot of species, that means being out at night. And you know, early on with airgun hunting, I wanted to get out and start night hunting, and so I used a lot of lights, flashlights, spotlights, visible lights to go out after things like jackrabbits. Make sure it's legal where you are, and for things like pest control. Being out at night is a major thing, and there are some positives and also some limitations with using lights. I started using a lot of different night hunting gear, and you know, eventually I bought some lower end night vision equipment that worked okay. Biggest problem I had actually was battery life with some of those earlier models. But then I started getting some access to some quality stuff, and I use quite a bit of one company I won't mention right here, but they're actually my go-to company, and I'll have some videos, and I have some videos night hunting with their gear, and I'll have more coming this year. I'm going to show you, it comes from a company called One Leaf. This is their product. It's the NV100 Monocle, night vision monocle. And what this is a monocle with night vision that slips onto an existing scope. So it goes right onto the scope that you're using on your gun for day hunting. It has both daytime capabilities and nighttime capabilities. It records video in both, but essentially it turns any scope set, just about any scope setup you have, into a night vision system, and it does that utilizing, and I'll run through and I'll show you this in more detail. But this is what you get in the pack, and it consists of the device. A couple of different collars. There's one here, and there are two more here that fit onto a number of different scopes. Extra eyepiece, some tape if you need to build up the tube on your scope a little bit to accept one of these collars, and also keep it from getting marred. And a charging cable, and there's a hex wrench in there for attaching the collars onto your scope. So again, I'll talk more about that, but this is the kit that you get. You see a close-up of what comes with the kit. There are 3 collars to adjust to different size scope tubes, and the device itself. And here you see the compact device and the collar. You also see a knurled wheel that is used for fine-tuning the focus of the camera on the reticle itself. You do the focusing of the image through the scope, but this focuses on the reticle. The menu field is well laid out, it's uncluttered, which is good because it's easy to work with in the dark. And remember, that's when you're mostly going to be using this scope. But it's easy to get at all the controls. And you see that there's ability to select day, night. You can record or do photographs. There's a digital zoom. You can do a screen zoom as well. You have a lot of functionality, but in very few keys and easy to work with. I like using a gun with an adjustable stock like this because when I put the device on, I can slide the stock back and maintain the eye relief that I want, both when I'm using the scope without it and with it. It doesn't add a whole lot of bulk to the gun, and it's comfortable to work with. Again, especially if you either set up the scope or you have an adjustable stock that lets you adjust for the eye relief. Here I had the scope out in the daytime, and it's worth noting that this was very early morning, and you could not make out the squirrel very well, either through the scope alone or by the naked eye. But even in the day mode, you have some improvements in the low light capabilities of your scope by utilizing this device. But where it really becomes valuable is at dark. This is at late dusk. It's almost pitch black. There is a moon out, and I am using a supplemental IR illuminator. So that's like an IR flashlight off one of my other devices, and it lights up the area pretty well. You can really make out detail of these pigs that are about 45-50 yards away from me in this example. Tie this in with an illuminated reticle and you can really see how it would enhance your nighttime hunting, but you don't need that. So here I switch off the secondary illuminator and just use the integrated IR illuminator that's built into the scope. It focuses the beam much more sharply. You see when I hit the eyes they light up. And again, you don't need to have that other illuminator, and it works perfectly fine. So this is a great insurance policy to have in my pack when a daytime hunt turns into night. I'll go out in the late afternoon and I'll be out still when it gets dark, and I'll hear pigs moving all around me. So this is a real boon in those cases. So there you go. You saw some examples. Now a couple questions. The first big question, let's get this one out of the way first. Is this going to replace my night vision, my primary night vision gear? And the answer is no, absolutely not. The quality of this is quite good. It's usable, but it's nowhere near the quality of what I'm getting out of, say, my ATN X-Sight, and I'm not going to give that up to use this. Does that mean I'm not going to use it at all? No, it doesn't mean that either, because the idea that I can slip this into my pack, and if I can be out on a hunt and it starts to get dark, and all of a sudden I can slip that collar on and have a night vision setup with my rifle, I think that's a great thing. So this is going to live in my pack. This is going to be a bit of equipment that I use all the time. Now, another question is, could you use this as your primary night vision? And yeah, you could. I mean, I want to record. I want the highest quality. I want to record what I'm doing for YouTube or for other video production. So it's not going to serve my purpose there. But if I was just out hunting and what I wanted was night vision, or even if I wanted to video for my own use, or if I had a YouTube channel that I wanted to capture some footage and I wasn't worried about trying to get the absolute highest quality possible, yeah, this could do it for me. And the price point of it, again, is $300. That puts this into the reach of most people, whereas a $1,000 or a $1,500 scope might not, even though I will say the cost is coming down on some of the scopes. But I still like the fact that this is something I can add on to my rifle in those times when I need it. It's an insurance policy, doesn't weigh very much, slips into my hunting pack, and it's always there. Same as I have a little portable predator call that I would never use as my primary call, but it lives in my backpack because if I'm out at a hunt that runs into night, or if I think that there's a good chance I could pull something in a certain area, I'll use that call. Well, it's the same thing with this night vision. Having it in my pack to be there when I need it is great. Now let's talk about the quality. I said it's not the quality of my dedicated night vision, and it's not. It doesn't have that crispness, that clarity, but it's still pretty bloody good. And you saw two different versions of it here. I used it with the integrated IR illuminator. There's an IR illuminator built into the device, but I also took an illuminator I had for one of my other devices, and I used that, and then it just lit up everything. And the quality it's really good, considering what you're paying for it. Again, not as good as the dedicated stuff, but it's good enough for hunting. So I really, this is one of the ones, one of the products that I really think is a viable option for people hunting. It's not like a gimmicky thing that I thought it might have been. It actually has legs. It's a viable tool to add to your hunting lineup, I think. A little bit of a proviso here is that I haven't had it for a real long time. I mean, I've used it on a few hunts right now, so I can't speak to how well it'll stand up over the long run. I have a feeling it's going to stand up, but if I see that it dies after, 6 months in the field or a year in the field, I'll come back and comment on that as well. But for now, I really like this. I'm going to keep using it. And if you're looking for a cost-effective way to do some night hunting, this might be your entry point. So give it a look. As always, if you found this video interesting or useful, give it a thumbs up. Keep coming back. I have a lot of products coming this year that I'll be testing, and we'll talk about them. We'll give them a real world tryout, see how they perform. Again, anything that you ever see me talking about are things that I would use. Nobody can pay to get a positive review on here. If it's something I'll use, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you what the good, the bad, the ugly is. I see it, and that's the other thing to mention. This is as I see it under my use, and everybody has their own requirements, and those have to be the main drivers behind your decision-making process. But I can tell you how it worked for me and what I think of it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Come back. There'll be more coming.